Did Bill Gates, one of the most influential and wealthiest people on our planet, predict that in 10 years, doctors and teachers, among other jobs, will be replaced by AI? I'm a senior machine learning software engineer over at Twitch, where I work with AI systems, and this isn't the first time a billionaire has predicted that AI will be replacing jobs, but it is kind of shocking that now it's with doctors, teachers, and a bunch of other positions that aren't necessarily software related. Okay, so just as a quick reminder, if you don't know who Bill Gates is, he started a little company called Microsoft in 1975, and his net worth is a cool 106.3 billion USD, making him one of the most richest people on our planet. And he recently went on a talk show and he said that he predicts that AI will actually start replacing doctors and teachers in the foreseeable future. Bill Gates has recently predicted that AI could potentially replace doctors and teachers within the next decade. This statement has sparked a variety of responses across social media, with some users expressing skepticism about the practicality and ethics of such replacements. Discussions highlight both the capabilities of AI in medical and educational fields and the limitations, including issues like AI reliability and the human elements of these professions. So the root of this interview in this article came when Bill Gates was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and in that interview, Jimmy Fallon was asking him questions about AI and technology and all this kind of things, because AI is everywhere. You can talk to your grandma, your grandpa, your mom and dad, your niece and uncle, whatever, and everyone's talking about AI and ChatGPT and whatever. But in that interview, Bill Gates said, "So the era we've come to is sort of the vision that computing was expensive and it basically became free." Well, I don't really know about that. The era that we're just starting is that intelligence is rare. You know, a great doctor, a great teacher. And with AI, over the next decade, that will become free. Commonplace, you know, great medical advice, great tutoring. Now, this is quite the statement, because there is a few things about AI and what it's doing to society and to our lives in the future. Obviously, this is a software engineering channel, a tech channel. I've always talked about the impact of AI in software engineering and where I think it's going to lead to. But this isn't the first time a billionaire has talked about AI replacing jobs. If you remember, I made a video back in January where I said Zuck says it's over for software engineers. And in this video, I'm basically talking about the time when Mark Zuckerberg went on the Joe Rogan podcast. It's kind of funny when these billionaires in tech companies go on a show and they say something and catches fire. But in that interview, Mark Zuckerberg basically said that at Meta, at the year 2025, which is this year, by the way, he predicts that AI is going to replace all the software engineers, or the mid-level software engineers at Meta.
We at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code. And once you have that, then in the beginning it'll be really expensive to run, and then you can get it to be more efficient. And then over time, we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers.
So that was earlier this year, and we're not even halfway through 2025, and Meta is still hiring software engineers, mid-level, even juniors and seniors. So there hasn't been this wave of replacements. However, that isn't to say it can't still happen. You see, I went on layoffs.fyi and I did a search for Meta, and the only result that I could see for 2025 after that interview he did with Joe Rogan was in February 10th, where the company laid off 3,600 people, which is 5%. Now, this article is here where it says Mark Zuckerberg warned employees to prepare for an intense year, just laying off 3,600 workers. There's a few things that can go into this article. Not all of these are software engineers. This could be people just that work at Meta at different roles, not necessarily tech, or not even necessarily just SWEs or ICs. But we are seeing a trend of these tech billionaires making these bold claims of AI replacing job X or job Y or even job Z. Mark Zuckerberg made the bold claim that will happen in the next year when he made the interview, but Bill Gates is taking more of a conservative approach and saying 10 years. And this is really highlighted in this tweet here by Daria Unotmaz, where he says Gates is correct. Within a decade, up to 80 to 90% of doctors, teachers, professors, engineers, or lawyers will be replaced by AI. The remaining professionals will focus on aiding AI to make discoveries, create new knowledge, and to keep it aligned to benefit humans in these fields. Now, before we move forward with this video, leave a comment down below. Would you trust AI on diagnosing you or giving you a diagnosis or even teaching you something? Or maybe a better way to phrase this, do you trust AI over a human to do the role of a doctor? Let me know, I'm curious, and let's see if that changes in the next couple of years. So if we take this tweet at face value, it almost seems like every job that exists right now that is occupied by a human will be replaced by AI, which kind of leaves us the question, well, what are humans going to do? What is left for us to do in this world? And I really found this Reddit post kind of funny. It basically said, if people didn't suck, this would be great. We could spend our time making art and seeing beautiful places while working the bare minimum and being paid enough to enjoy ourselves while robots do the real work. Instead, AI will take jobs and people are going to have trouble feeding and housing themselves. Very cool, with 9.5 thousand upvotes on Reddit. Now, all of this kind of leads me to the following questions. Would you trust AI to diagnose you? Or more importantly, would you trust AI over a human? And there's already instances of ChatGPT, an LLM or an AI, saving people's lives, as expressed through this headline here. Reddit user credits AI chatbot for diagnosing his rare medical condition, where he basically states that he was prompting ChatGPT with his conditions and his symptoms, and ChatGPT told him, go see a professional, go to a hospital immediately. And doing that actually got him the professional help that he needed, the proper diagnosis from a doctor, which saved his life, because otherwise he would have probably stayed home and, something probably worse may have happened. Now, I personally find it kind of hard to swallow that AI could potentially replace a doctor, because I always grew up, well, a doctor is this person who studied at school for such a long time. They are a master at their craft. However, the older I got, the more I realized that bad doctors do exist. And not only that, but corrupt doctors exist as well. Because imagine this, if a doctor wakes up and has a bad day or they have some personal problems in their life and they dismiss your symptoms, well, that could have some severe impact and consequences to you moving forward, and the doctor may not be as liable. But with AI, there is no bias. There is no bad day with an AI. You kind of just boop a computer on and it gives you a diagnosis regardless if it loves you or hates you or what's happening back home. And the same could be said about teachers. I am sure all of us can think of a bad teacher that we had, that no matter what we did, no matter how hard we worked, we could not get a good grade or get the teacher to like us. It was just inevitable that no matter how hard we studied, how hard we listened to their lectures, we would still not pass the test or even fail the exam, because some teachers are just bad. We have great teachers we can think of in a great view, and then there's bad teachers that make us grateful that we aren't back at school or taking their course again. And I'm not saying that, because it's bad doctors and bad teachers, that excuses or makes it okay for AI to come replace them, but I do think that is an angle where people who are going to build companies around AI in this particular field are going to use to sell that AI is better than a human and you don't have to worry about anything else. Whereas I do think that's going to have some severe consequences, and that's going to have a severe shift in what we think is okay visiting a doctor, or even what it means to visit a doctor in 10 years if it is really replaced by an AI. But I think the most interesting part for me is what jobs are left for us being humans, right? I really do think, and I personally see it in my industry, which is software engineering, that AI is in fact getting deeper and deeper. And I have even a post here where from r/cybersecurity, a post about a month ago where a user said it begins. Me and the other 79 in my team are being canned and replaced by an AI that it turns out we've been training for the past 2 years. We work for a large US company, about 300,000 employees. And look at the amount of upvotes and comments on this. You can see there's small pops here and there of companies actually replacing teams, divisions, people with AI. And this is happening in software engineering, as most of us have been talking about already. But now with the news of Bill Gates saying that it could happen to doctors and teachers in 10 years, I actually will take that maybe not for face value. maybe it'll be shorter than 10 years. I'm not sure. With the growth of technology, especially with the growth of AI, I won't be surprised if that happens faster. The global artificial intelligence market size was estimated to be 279 billion in 2024 and expected to reach 390 billion in 2025. The artificial intelligence market is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 35.9% from 2025 to 2030. And I've covered all the time about all these new AI companies spinning up or all these features using AI. It doesn't even feel like we're in a bubble anymore. It just feels like AI is part of life as we know it. All right, so wrapping up this video, I think this is a pretty scary headline. I don't like the fact that all these billionaires are trying to kind of convince us that AI is going to be replacing all of our jobs and that there's not going to be any jobs left for us to do. I mean, what are we going to do as humans? I do think we are in the precedence of something big happening right now. Literally every single day, it seems like there's a new LLM model. There's a new company that's using AI to make our jobs easier, our lives better. But it's all happening so fast, and it's quite scary, to be frank. But let me know what you guys think of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a comment, like, and subscribe for more. And let me know, do you think Bill Gates is onto something? Do you like the fact that we're growing and adopting AI? It doesn't really seem like we're in a bubble anymore. I'm interested to know what you guys think. I'll read every single comment, so please make sure to comment it down below. I want to know what you guys think. And if you're not ready, check out another video where I talk about something else. And yeah, until next time, see you later. And don't get replaced by AI. I don't know, maybe. Just try not to get replaced by AI. Do something cool. Peace. Bye.